Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the hottest 2-star gems in the game right now, that is Specter Glass and Crimson Behelit. These are the new 2-star gems that have come out and both are damage oriented. So there's a lot of talk in the town about which one is better, which one you should use for what purposes. So in this video, we are going to do a comparison between these two gems and also we'll compare it with the OG, one of the best, 2-star gems, that is the Pain Clasp. I know there are other 2-star gems that are very good, such as Fervent Fang and Power and Command. There's Mother's Lament and everything. But Pain Class has always been considered as one of the best 2-star gems for damage boost. So basically in this video, I'll tell you how I have evaluated these two gems and I will also highlight how these two gems actually work. Now for Spectre Glass, yesterday only I made a video about armor break. If you haven't checked it out, you can check it out. I'll link it in the top right. There is more. Yes, if you can believe it, there is so much more about Spectre Glass to know, which I have also learned recently. So yeah, there's some new things that I came to know about recently. And also there is Crimson Behelit as well. So we'll cover how these two gems actually work. And then also we'll go through some numbers. Like if you have known me, there is going to be an Excel sheet in this video as well. So yeah, brace yourself for that. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So first I'll talk about Crimson Behelit as it is the most easiest one to understand because it's very straightforward. If your health is above 50%, you are going to get a damage boost when you hit an enemy, and that damage boost is 10%. At rank 10 it is 30%, right? So 30%, we have not seen any gem like it till now. 30% damage boost, but it lasts for 6 seconds. Now, there has been a lot of talk already. You probably already know that V2s do not work on this particular gem. So 6 seconds is not going to extend with V2s. It will, however, extend with beneficial effect duration. So I have consistently gotten like somewhere around 8 seconds in PvE with this gem, which is pretty good in my opinion. So basically, and this gem triggers once in every 20 seconds, right? For this purpose of this video, we are going to focus on the offensive part. Basically, in a span of 20 seconds, there are going to be 8 seconds where you're going to deal 30% more damage. As simple as that. So now if I have to show this in an Excel, suppose you are doing 10,000 damage per second. Your DPS is 10,000. So in a span of 1 second, 2, 3, 4, each second you're doing 10,000 damage. And now you put on Crimson Behelit. Out of those 20 seconds, 10,000 you are doing each second. 8 of those seconds you will get 13,000, 3,000 more. That's 30% more, right? So you get 10,000, 13, 13, 13, 13. You get Crimson Behelit buff, and then again you do 10,000 each second, totaling up to 224, right? And for 10 seconds, it totals up to 124k. Now these numbers, I'll tell you, keep in mind, I'll show you later also, these numbers are very important in this video, right? So this is about Crimson Behelit. Next, we move to Spectre Glass. I've already covered about this gem partially in a different video talking about armor break, how it works. Basically, when you do a critical hit damage to an enemy, you will do more damage. You will get a damage buff against that enemy. So this is like 10% now. At rank 10, it is 28%. The thing about Spectre Glass is that the critical hit shatters enemy armor for 2 seconds. Now this 2 seconds cannot be extended using beneficial effect durations or V2s. This basically is like a debuff, and hence it is going to extend or going to increase using potency and misery elixir and feasting barons, right? So things like that. And basically with this gem on a dummy target, you can get something around 4.7 seconds of duration. Now how does that duration comes up? So recently Firelord L Jackson, he told me that misery elixir and feasting barons are additive, and then they multiply with potency bonus. So basically for Spectre Glass, if you apply misery elixir, the 1-star gem that increases the duration of harmful effect, and then you add feasting barons that also increase the duration by 30%, and then you multiply with potency. Now keep in mind, in the dummies, the secondary stats are reduced to 0. It has been set to 0. Hence your potency bonus against dummy is going to be always highest. That is 50% bonus, right? And hence this is the calculation. So he says it's 1.5, that's potency, and we multiply it with 1 plus 0.3, that is feasting barons, and 0.24 is misery elixir. 2.325, right? Now you multiply that with 2 seconds of Spectre Glass, you get 4.65, that's 4.7 seconds, roughly that, right? So 4.7 seconds of armor break that you are getting with Spectre Glass, thanks to Firelord who told me about this. I didn't know that it was multiplicative. This is what I didn't know. I thought it was additive or something like that. I didn't actually think about it actually, honestly, but thanks for clarifying. So basically in every 6 seconds, 4.7 seconds, you're going to do more damage to the enemy, provided you do critical hits, critical hits, right? And now again, I pull out the Excel sheet for Spectre Glass. It says, oh, what is this? For Spectre Glass, it says, for 4.7 seconds, I said you get 28% damage, right? So initially, like I said, you do 10,000 damage each second. 28% more is 12,800. 1, 2, 3, 4. For 4 seconds, you get full 12,800. For the fifth seconds, it is going lasting for only 7 seconds, right? So basically, that's 28. That's 70% of 28%. That's 19.6. So 11960, right? And then for the sixth second, it's going to be 10,000, right? So this is what Spectre Glass does in every 6 seconds, right? Now, if you see carefully as compared to Crimson, you see that Crimson total for a 20-second span was 224. For Spectre Glass, it's 245, right? But check out the 10 seconds mark. At 10 seconds mark, basically Crimson and Spectre Glass almost do the same damage. So what does this mean? In short encounters like, in dungeons or something like that, you will definitely feel no difference between Crimson and Spectre. The amount is almost the same. However, something on Raid, Gauntlets, Challenge Rift, Spectre Glass is going to be outperforming Crimson by a big number, right? Like this was 224, this is 245. So for PvE content, Spectre Glass is definitely going to be the better gem among the two. Before I give the verdict, I want to compare it with Pain Clasp as well. For Pain Clasp, what you need is a continual damage effect, like a debuff on an enemy, and then you get 24% damage buff as long as you have the debuff, right? So basically, the max potential of Pain Clasp is getting 24% damage for all the 20 seconds, and hence the value of Pain Clasp, the damage, theoretically is going to be the highest. Still now, Pain Clasp is still going to be the best one. So if you already have Pain Clasp, I would not suggest you to replace it, provided you can do continual damage effect. Continual damage effect from your, bleed and burn and fire, from your build, basically, not from something like, Viper's Bite or something like, Seeping Bile, yeah, those things are good. But what happens is that those gems have a downtime. So for maybe 10 seconds or something, like you won't even get, 12,400 like you're saying, like I'm showing you. You might even get, just 10,000. So if you don't have a reliable, source, like it's just coming to 224, same as Crimson Glass, right? So yeah, guys, basically if you have a continual damage effect like bleed, burn, poison, Pain Clasp is still going to be very, very good. If you can consistently apply on the enemy, it is still going to give you the maximum damage boost. But check out the 10-second marks, it's still coming to same as Crimson Behelit, right? So for short encounters, actually all these three gems are at par within 10 seconds. I'm saying within the 10-second span, almost in all of the cases, these three gems are going to give you the same damage. That's the best part, for small encounters. But for longer encounters, things start to change. Like obviously Pain Clasp is going to be the best. The next best is going to be Spectre Glass, and the next best is going to be Crimson Behelit for PvE, player versus environment. That's the thing I wanted to say. All this discussion was for PvE, by the way. I should have mentioned this before. So this is the verdict, right? This you have the numbers in front of you for PvE. Spectre Glass is definitely much better than the Crimson Behelit, but it changes dramatically when it is PvP. Why? Because to activate Crimson Behelit, you just need to deal damage. There are no strings attached. So it is almost going to trigger almost all the time. Number one point. Number second point, To activate Specter Glass, you need to do a critical hit damage. Now in PvP, your critical hit chance goes down by a lot. So if you have low critical hit chance, Specter buff, Specter Glass is not going to, activate a lot. Uh, because critical hit chance goes down dramatically in PvE scenarios. Hence, you might not always have Spectre, the buff from the Spectre Glass. Secondly, the duration of Spectre Glass. So if you're not using things like, Misery Elixir or Feasting Barons to increase the duration of Spectre buff, Spectre Glass, you are not going to get a lot of duration, right? So normally it's 2 seconds, and if you're not using that, it's not going to increase. Thirdly, if your potency is low, you have focused on, armor penetration. Your investment is all towards armor penetration and your potency is low and enemy's resistance is high. Your duration is actually going to be less than 2 seconds. So basically Spectre Glass, there's a chance depending on your opponent. If your opponent is weaker, lower resonance than you, lower secondary stats, then still it's okay. But if not, you might even get a buff of, only 1 second, 1.5 seconds. That's it. And in PvP scenarios, Crimson Glass is much better. Crimson Behelit, pardon me. In PvP scenario, Crimson Behelit is much better than Spectre Glass, because Spectre Glass depends on so many things. First, you need to do a crit, then you need to have a high potency, then you need to use Barons and Misery Elixir to get it for a longer duration, right? So basically for PvP, Crimson Behelit is definitely going to be the better gem here. There is no doubt about that. Spectre Glass is going to be good for classes like Necromancers or classes that have a lot of harmful effect, because those classes already use Feasting Barons. So if you're using dot builds, Spectre Glass is going to be an amazing addition. But if not, Crimson Behelit is definitely going to give you more damage. So yeah guys, this is what I wanted to talk in this particular video. I hope you found all of these very insightful. These, I know these are theoretical numbers, but I have done some research and then I have finally finalized on these numbers after doing my research on the paper. So this is the theoretically maximum damage that you can pull out from these gems. And I thought this was the best way, to compare these. It's very simple when you have the numbers in front of you. It's very easy to compare, right? So yeah, for PvE, Spectre Glass; for PvP, Crimson Behelit; and obviously Pain Clasp is there if you have harmful effects, if you have dot builds. If not, obviously again go for Crimson Behelit for PvP, right? So that is going to be my conclusion, and that because of that I have already went ahead and I have made a rank 10 Crimson Behelit. I was actually sitting on a lot of telluric fragments. I didn't buy anything from market. 3 Crimson Behelit dropped for me from crest runs, and the rest 38 pieces I just crafted, and now I'm broke. So yeah, that's the end of the story. I hope you like this video. Consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.